Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 99 of the 40k Badcast. My name is, of course, Dan Boyd, and I'm joined, as always, by the man who, well, he needs a little help, gang. It's Johnny No-Paycheck, famous singer of the song "Take This Job and Shove It," in parentheses, if only I had a job for which you could take and shove, close parentheses.
Who buddy? All right. I do appreciate that. It's not like a play on my name. It's just like, look at this fucking guy. Here's some words.
Johnny No-Paycheck. I thought of that. It came to me immediately, and then the follow-up joke did. And I gotta tell you, Campbell, I am just pleased with myself right now.
You should be pleased as punch. And honestly, if there was a song that was "Take This Job and Shove It," parentheses, if I had a job with which to shove, end parentheses, I would definitely have that. I would definitely like that song. That sounds like a good country song.
It is a good song.
Yeah,
I've heard it before. All right. Let's get into the show here. Let's start with the aspects where we talk about what's on our hobby radar. We'll do some hobby progress to start, and I'll begin. I'm nearly done with these van vets. I had a fucking escapade yesterday, my guy.
I saw. Share with the class.
So I'm doing the highlights on these van vets, right? And I used some 3D printed claws to represent their lightning claws because some guy on Shapeways had them, and they look like Shrike's claws. So I thought, yeah, this is great. This is fantastic. Put them on there, painted up, great. And I've discovered that they break extremely fucking easily. So I was painting one of my guys. I accidentally knocked him over on the stand, on the little holder, the butt plug or whatever. And he fell onto his claw hand, and all three claws went shooting off into my basement.
All three? Jesus.
All three. I found two, and I was able to reattach them. But one went missing, and is still missing, at large, even. Oh, so no. I had to go into my bits box and pull out an extra claw, because I couldn't use left-hand claws for this unit because all their shields are right-handed. I'm sorry, all the shields were left-handed, so I couldn't use left claws. So I have a bunch of left claws left over. Fortunately, the little the claws themselves are ambidextrous. So I took one. I broke off the two on the sides so I could paint the whole thing easily. I primed it, and I painted just the claw. And then I cut it off at the bottom and stuck it onto the claw that was missing, and it worked.
Nice.
And this whole drama was documented on my Twitter, at DB_sleazy, if you want to go and look at that. The picture of the claw on the little on the piece of cardboard that I used for priming, where it's just giving the finger.
Giving the bird. Very fitting for a Raven Guard, yeah.
Yeah, very strange day of hobbying yesterday. But fun, you know, I figured it out. I got it. I did it. And the model's looking great. I'm just about done with these guys. I'm about to start with the black highlights. This project has been taking forever, and it's just because I haven't had a lot of time for painting. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I just haven't had time. So fun stuff over here. Now, I'm almost done with these guys, so I'm trying to think of what I'm going to paint next, and I have no fucking clue. So I have talked about how I want to have an Assault Intercessor Squad done, and I definitely do by October when we go to New Orleans for the Warhammer Roadshow. But I don't know if I want that now or then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. So, I feel like also after painting Choppy Raven Guard, you probably aren't going to feel super jazzed about painting more Choppy Raven Guard.
Yeah, and I think I want to paint like one model right now. Like I'm feeling like after I finish these guys, I think I'm going to paint like an Orlok Arms Master, just to be like paint one model and just get one model in there and, you know, have some fun with it. And then move on to whatever other projects I got going on. Because I got a bunch of Orloks in the backlog that I kind of feel bad about starting a whole new Necromunda gang without finishing my first Necromunda gang. So I kind of feel bad. I'm I want to do like a resin day also, and that's where the Mega Bomber would come in, because that needs to be cleaned and filed down and everything. And then I have all
the final
these
boss of resin day.
Yeah, I have all these Cawdor parts that need to be cleaned, and I have Orlok parts that need to be cleaned too. So I want to like do a resin day at some point, and that'll be fun. That'll be a good time.
Nice.
So I don't want to start on new resin stuff until I do that, because I want to try to get it all done at once, so I'm not wasting time. And so I think what the idea is, I'm gonna finish these guys. I'm gonna take an Orlok break, and then I think I might do a test model for Aeronautica for my orc scheme.
Nice. Yeah.
Just to see how that goes. Just get one done. Get one of the little ones done. The fight of Dakajets, rather. Get one of those done and see what it looks like and see how fun it is. And if it turns out that it's fun and super easy, then I might just fucking dive bomb right in.
Do you have any ideas for that sort of scheme?
Absolutely, yes. I'm gonna spray them red.
Nice.
Army painter red, and then I'm just gonna fucking pick out the metallic bits, and then I'm going to fucking dip them in Agrax.
Hell yeah.
And then I'll pick out the details. I'll paint some checks and some dags and stuff like that, and then I'll probably just call it a day.
Nice.
So that's my plan with those. I think it'll paint up really quickly, but you know how these things go with me, especially because I'm slow.
I very much do.
Yeah, but that's my plan. I do want to get these assault intercessors done, but I also want to take a break from painting black power armored marines. So I think I will. All right, bud, on to you. I know you finished. You have worked through Cursed City, so please tell us about it.
Yes, 2 months and like 3 days after getting it, I finished Cursed City. It was basically like, I think last time I still had a few things left to do. Basically, I had these zombies, which were one of the less pleasant painting experiences I've had.
Better than the bats or worse than the bats?
Worse.
Ooh, you hated those bats.
I hated working on those bats, but the bats only had like 2 textures on the models themselves I really needed to worry about. The zombies are just like... I recounted it in an art. I put together an Army Showcase article for Goonhammer on my Cursed City set that'll go out at some point. Where I think I broke down there's like a dozen different textures on each zombie, and they aren't all consistent across each zombie. So it's like skin, wounds, bone, grass, rocks, wood, other wood, roots, metal. Like there's just so much fucking shit in those models. And again, they are absolute chaff. Like they don't need this much detail. Like even the multi-part zombie kit, way less of this shit. But here we are. But yeah, I just chewed through those guys.
They're deluxe models.
Yeah, you're really getting your money's worth. There's a lot of detail per square inch. Far too much detail per square inch.
Hey man, that is a metric.
That is a metric
you could use to describe those zombos.
Yeah, no, they definitely have a high score on that. Whatever, who fucking cares? I'm done with them. I don't like them, but
sounds like you don't even want to talk about them.
There's not really much more to talk. I feel like I've been bitching about them for 4 months or whatever, like since they first showed them off.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were not a good time to paint. I like some details of them, but like I was like, all right, I'm gonna break down each guy, and they're gonna have like all the different like zombie like dirty like browns and grays, like all sorts of like beat up clothes, and I'm like, fuck it, I don't want to figure this out. I'm just gonna paint them in the same bad guy green. I do all the cloth of my bad guys here, and honestly, it looks better that way. I think it also means they don't look quite so muddy, because like being zombies, they're gonna have a lot of like kind of muted tones, whether it's like rotting skin or the wood or what have you on them.
Right. I think ultimately you did a good job on them.
Yeah, like I don't feel like I slacked, which is probably one of the reasons I hated them so much, is because I put a good amount of care into them.
Yeah.
But I didn't want these guys to, look shitty just because I didn't like painting them that much,
Yeah, I get why. I'm looking at these things on your Twitter right now, which is Brother SRM, at Brother SRM, I should say. And I mean, I get it. These models there's way too much going on for what they are.
Yeah, I feel like the gravestone thing on the back is like a really cool idea. And if that was there for like, say, a banner bearer sort of idea, like that's what the standard for a regiment of them would look like, I think that would be neat. But when it's every goddamn guy, it's too much.
I don't really think it's that cool of an idea, TBH.
it's supporting like the lore that they'd like basically stake them through the heart once they're buried to make sure they don't rise back from the grave, which didn't work so well in the story of Cursed City.
Yeah, it didn't work. Sorry.
No. Yeah. Anyway, those guys are at least done. The good thing is I never need to paint another one for the rest of my life, as far as I'm aware.
Right.
Last model in that set was Glorio Van Alten III. He's like the noble duelist sort of dude. I was so stoked to paint him right from the get-go that I'm like, I set out a sort of specific like process where I'd be like hero, mob of dudes, hero, mob of dudes. Like I had kind of like a staggered thing like that when it came to painting the set, so I wouldn't burn out by, painting all the cool models at the start, then I'm going to chew through 40 chaff models later.
Right.
So I saved him for last, and he's one of those models where I just paint him in one sitting.
Oh, nice.
Like,
yeah.
I timed it. It was 4.5 hours of just like sitting there and just bashing that dude out. And I was over the moon the entire time. I was just having fun painting.
Look at Johnny No-Paycheck over here having 4.5 hours with which to use on uninterrupted painting time.
It's not the first time I've done that with this set.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
I am envious.
Yeah, I'm envious of your insurance.
Oh, yes, I do. I used that today. I went to the dentist.
Hell yeah. Keep them teeth clean. But yeah, anyway, Cursed City's done now. It's been like a 2-month and change process. I had a lot of fun with, I'd say 80% of it. I had a great time painting. Like,
all right, so how many models is that?
60.
All right, so in 2 months, you painted 60 models, and in 2 months, I am still working on 5 models.
Right. The system works. Yeah, no, at the moment, let's see, what's my painting progress sheet at right now? It is at 131 painted models this year.
That's pretty good, and you're only halfway through. If you don't get to 250, Campbell, you're off the podcast.
Duly noted. I will. I can't wait to be replaced by, I guess, the Zinger Dinger and Numi.
The Zinger? No. Oh, Numi, yes. Maybe, you know what? Maybe it should just be a podcast, because your cats don't get along with each other. Maybe it should just be a podcast of Esme in one room and Numi in the other room, and they're just arguing. That'd be great radio, wouldn't it?
That would be great radio. I mean, hey, if you listen to our new bonus content, the Torco Borco or Porco, you can hear Esmeralda adding her very strong opinions about Taco Bell to it right from the get-go.
I didn't edit it out because I appreciate her opinions.
I wouldn't want you to edit it out. I want the world to know.
Let's not shill for Torco Borco Raporco just yet, because we're going to in the next segment of the show.
That's very fair.
So let's talk quickly. Oh no, you're not done yet, because I've seen some progress photos of something else you've been working on.
Right. Because again, no paycheck, lots of time, which means I was able to build the Primaris Tech Marine. Of course, I didn't give him the pistol hand. I gave him the blessing the pasta. Yeah. The blessing the pasta chef kiss hand.
I gave him the claw too, because I'm not an idiot. I'm an intelligent human.
Right, you're not a coward. And after I built him, I started working on my heavy intercessors.
Yeah, I've seen the WIP of that. They're looking pretty strong. Your heraldry game is on point. Let's not talk about it just yet until our listeners have something to go look at with that.
Yeah.
So we'll bring that in next show when you're undoubtedly done with them.
I will very likely be done with them next week. Yeah.
Great. Okay, let's talk about some games played. Campbell, I invite you to go first.
Sure. So let's see, we recorded 2 weeks ago. Like 2 hours after we recorded, I had a game. And it was against Cassidy and his Goths, who's been my like regular orc opponent around here. I took the exact same list I took in the game against Harlequins, where I got bodied. Wow.
Okay. And I'm just like, my brain was just transported back to the Preacher comics, because you said Cassidy and his Goths, and I know what that means in the context of Warhammer 40,000. But Cassidy and his Goths would be a completely different thing in the context of the Preacher comic, when Jesse and Cassidy go back to New Orleans, and there's just like this goth vampire cult that Cassidy started like in the 80s or some shit, and then abandoned because he's a terrible, not only a terrible human, but a terrible vampire. And just there's just a lot going on, man. I haven't read comic books in a while, but let's just say I've read too many comic books.
For what it's worth, Preacher's a good one.
It's okay. When it was written, it was definitely a good one, but there's a lot in that book that doesn't hold up in the year of our Lord, 2021.
Are you telling me shockingly edgy comic book writer Garth Ennis has a few things from the 90s that might not have aged super well?
I am telling you that, Campbell, and I know that you're going to have to suspend disbelief in this context, but it is true.
Consider my gob firmly smacked.
Now, that's different from your god being firmly smacked.
Which also kind of happens in Preacher too.
As a Bostonian, I know that your god has permanently been smacked.
This is true. Hey, Godsmack Day is coming up again.
It's coming up. It's what, August 6th or something?
It is. Why do you remember this? It is August 6th.
I'm very good at remembering things, my guy. A lot of people don't think I am because I don't present as very smart, but I got a really good memory.
Yeah. I'm
except for people, one of my favorite things to do is when I do remember people is pretend that I don't remember them, just so I can, knock their self-confidence down a little bit.
I've definitely met, first off, cool to neg people. Second off, I've definitely met people at cons who have been like, hi, I'm Campbell. They're like, I know, I've met you before. And I'm like, cool. I don't recall.
It's like you do that for real. I do it on purpose.
That's the thing. Like, we are both sides of Occam's razor right here.
Yeah, if you meet me at a con, listeners, and I don't remember you from meeting you beforehand, you got to roll the dice. Is it real? Does he actually not remember me, or is he fucking negging me? Oh man, being the podcast heel is a lot of fun. I gotta tell y'all, it's a lot of fun.
You lean into the role very well. It's almost like you have some prior experience.
All right, Cassidy and Goffs, tell me more.
Yeah, Cassidy and his Goffs. It was that mission where it was a 1,500 point game. It was that mission where you need to like reconnoiter the 4 table quarters, which I've done before. I really like that mission. I think it's very cool. It's like nice, simple action that's fun to do.
Yeah.
He's still learning the game. I think it's only his 2nd or 3rd game we've had together. But
he doesn't know how to play the game 100% by his 2nd or 3rd game. What is this guy?
Yeah, may as well just drop out now. May as well just pick up a game for babies.
Yeah, this game is not complicated at all with 100 books and a million different armies and 100 million units. There's nothing. There's nothing complicated or difficult about this game.
Yeah, and 37 years or so of built up cruft. Yeah, so it went a lot faster than the first one. Honestly, like he's definitely caught on to the rules pretty quickly. And yeah, the game was. He's a very kind fellow, and I'd say a good friend of mine, and has been nothing but generous and gracious in every time we've hung out. And to put the long story short, it was an Ultramarines victory, 73-34.
Oh, hachi machi.
Yeah, he got first turn, which put a little pressure on me. Like, a lot of orcs getting real close real fast meant they're also real close real fast to my Invictor and its flame cannon.
Ooh boy.
And a lot of rapid firing bolt rifles.
Ooh boy.
And although he did get like a really sick ass long bomb charge right away with a squad of mega knobs charging 11 inches to just eviscerate my incursors.
Oh man.
After that, it was just like, oh, my Redemptor plasma cannon, boom, no more. My Redemptor, like, in one round killed all 3 mega knobs and then like split fire and chewed up like 15 orc boys or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And like, he had Gazgul, and I'm just like, all right, pop 4 wounds on him with my servo turret. Next turn, pop 4 wounds with my servo turret. Just like, my dice were hot. Some of his like better units were out of position. He outflanked with his Def Coptas, and I was like, hey, just let you know, I have this stratagem called Auspex Scan where one of my infantry squads can shoot your unit if it comes in too close to them. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. He brings me next to my suppressors.
Oh boy.
There's no longer any Def Coptas.
Oh boy. He was just like, I don't gotta worry about this.
He was like, yeah, all right, you told me it would happen. I don't know what I expected.
Yeah, well.
And yeah, I just he even did like that cool trick where he takes one of his boys mobs off and brings him back at full strength. But by turn 5, when they came back on turn 5, and on turn 5 I still wiped them out. I did that thin the hordes secondary.
Oh yeah.
Which is a cool one because you just kind of count how many kills you got. I killed 117 orcs that game.
Yeah, that's an old secondary. Why are you using that?
Because I didn't buy the new book. Because Oh no, I didn't feel like spending $30-$40 on a new book when I've played like not even a dozen games in ninth yet.
Oh my God, Campbell.
I know. I'm so disappointing.
You're going in what, at this point?
3 months and change?
3 months. You're going to a grand tournament and you're not even playing the current missions.
Shucks. Shame on me. It's not called the 40k Goodcast, Dan.
I was actually going to make a comment. If you listeners ever think that we need to change our name, we got a guy in here who doesn't know the current secondaries and plays with a Firestrike Turret. So we're still bad, at least collectively.
Collectively bad. Yeah, we average out to bad. I'm still waiting. I did get to use the Firestrike Turret to recon a table cord of that game because I didn't have anything else for it to shoot at because I killed too many orcs. I'm still waiting for the day I get to charge with that fucking thing because I love that it moves 3 inches a turn and can still charge 12.
Yeah, he gets out. That's what he gets out and he goes and punches something.
No, the turret rapidly crab scuttles. No, that's my mind. That's what's going on in my mind palace.
No, I like to think that he gets out and he like grabs it by the barrel of one of the guns and just drags it as he's sprinting towards the enemy and then throws it at them.
I was going to say either throws it or just like two-hand, just like overhand swings it.
That works too. That would be fantastic.
See, that's the thing. I'm waiting for a good video game representation of the Firestrike Turret so I can see what it looks like when it does charge. And I bring that up because I played a pair of Ham's computer games I wanted to touch on real quick.
Okay.
Battle Sector is coming out soon. I played the demo of it. It's basically like a turn-based, like think of it somewhere between like it's like army scale XCOM in a lot of ways if you played that game. And I gotta say, it's pretty fucking good. It's like the first good 40k game in a long time. Like it's polished. It's got like nice graphics, nice audio, good game mechanics. They're very clearly explained. It's got like a really solid aesthetic. Like I'd say it's got a kind of aesthetic experience similar to the first Dawn of War game in a lot of ways, where it's just like a nice representation of what 40k is these days. It's pretty good. The demo's free, so if you have a PC, just download it. I'm intending to play it with both in single player and online because it's got simultaneous multiplayer.
What game is this?
Warhammer 40,000 Battle Sector. Battle Sector is one word. But yeah, check it out. I think actually, I know you like turn-based strategy games. I know you've played a fuckload of Battletech. I think you'd actually dig it a lot.
All right, I'm looking it up. I found it. Listen, I'm not gonna start looking at this during the show because we have a show to do. But
that's fair.
I will look at this after the show. How about that?
Yeah, keep that tab open.
I do like turn-based strategy. Baseball is my favorite sport.
This is true. Yeah. Baseball is a turn-based strategy game.
Baseball is a turn-based strategy game. A lot of people don't know that. I think that a lot of war gamers, a lot of our audience, there's the people like you that just eschew sports in general because you're brainworms. But I'm telling you, man, it's turn-based strategy. A lot of people would like it.
I issue sports because NFL Blitz and Mutant League Football unfairly set up the expectations for how exciting sports would be to me.
I don't know, but there's this stuff going on in baseball right now where the pitchers have been cheating for years using sticky substances to impact their grip on the ball. And the umpires, as of Monday, started enforcing the rule that you're not allowed to use it, or Tuesday, it doesn't matter. And it has caused some extremely hilarious on-field temper tantrums, and as far as grown baby men, there's no higher concentration except potentially outside of a Warhammer convention than grown ass baby men as there is on baseball teams.
I'd say the difference between baseball grown ass baby men is they're wealthy grown ass baby men, unlike your typical Warhammer tournament.
Yes. A lot of them are just disgustingly wealthy, which, you know what, good for them, whatever, who cares. The idea here is that baseball is hilarious again because people are literally undressing on the field in front of thousands of fans. It's
hell
wild.
Yeah.
It is
competitive
wild.
Streaking. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, and last but certainly least, it was Father's Day, and my dad wanted to play a game online, so we played Warhammer 40,000 Armageddon, which is like, of all the Warhammer games, this is the one that is just straight up a dad game.
I'm talking that.
Yeah.
I haven't played it in forever because there is just so much going on in that game.
Yep. It is 2D sprites, hex grids. It is a reskin of Slytherin's Panzer Corps games. Like, it is a fucking dad game.
No, it is. It's a hex based dad game. It's a hex-based World War II dad game set in the Battle of Armageddon.
Yeah. And I'd say it's good. It's like a little clunky. It's not super polished. It doesn't explain any of its fucking mechanics well at all.
That was the problem I had with it. Is I started playing it and I was like, how the fuck does any of this work? And the game was like, good luck, idiot.
Yeah, it does not explain itself whatsoever. But again, it's a dad game. I played it with my dad. And here's how I super know it's a dad game is because the multiplayer is play by email. There's no live multiplayer. It is like you take a turn and send a challenge to your opponent. They get an email and they take a turn and back and forth.
That is incredible.
So what we did, so we could feel like we were playing the same game, is we would alternate screen sharing in Skype to play against each other, to be like, here's what I'm doing. And then on his turn, you get to watch the whole thing happen again real quick and you going back and forth. I played orcs. He played Imperials. I played the terrain a little better and held the central city that was the objective. And I dumpstered my dad on Father's Day.
Oh, wow. Campbell, you listen, I might be the heel on the show, but you're the heel in real life.
This is I'm the secret heel. And honestly, listeners to the last episode or so will know that I do have the potential for heel within.
It's true. You do.
All right. You get any games in?
Nope.
All right.
Let's talk about new stuff. Not too much that we're going to cover in this show because we're not. Okay. I've made the editorial decision to not cover AOS right now because every other article on Warhammer Community is an AOS update for rules or some stuff. There was a new edition. We talked about the models last show. I'm declaring that as far as new content is concerned, this is a no AOS show this week.
Yep, that's fair. It's all just like, here's how this faction fares in AOS. Here's how this faction, and it's like it's marketing.
It's important. It's important news for AOS players. Like I get that, but this is ostensibly a Warhammer 40,000 podcast, so we're gonna stick with that for now. All right. So let's talk about Necromunda a little bit. We've got a new hired gun coming in, Clovis the Redeemer. For he's a house agent for Redemptionist and Cawdor gangs, and he's been in a lot of media for Necromunda in the past.
Yeah, I mean, he was like the classic character. He has his own fucking comic book series. He had a Black Library metal model. He had a regular Necromunda metal model. Like he is one. Like him and Cal Jericho are like the Necromunda characters that there have been.
Right, and not only that, like in the House of Fire book that came out recently for House Cawdor and Redemptionist, like he has his own Articles of Faith category.
Damn,
it's called the Path of the Redeemer. It's all based on Clovis. It's a really cool like intersection of lore and rules and stuff here. And the model is okay.
You only think it's okay?
I only think it's okay. I like the big Eviscerator. I think it's actually one of the better eviscerators in that they've put to model. I do not like his pose, where he's holding it up and he's got the little stringy string attached to it. I think that looks weird and unnatural. I love his headdress and his costume and stuff. And he's holding his torture book, but then he's got a Captain Morgan pose on a pile of books.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I get that he like writes down in his book of torturing like everything he does to people, all the tortures he does, and I guess they're trying to say that he's filled many volumes with all of his tortures. I get that, but it looks dumb.
I mean, all right, so I think it actually looks pretty cool. I feel like if you cut off the cable, it looks a lot more natural. However, you do make a good point with the stack of books. Have you ever been like stumbling around your house and stepped on a paperback or a magazine or something like that?
Oh yeah, you fall immediately and
you just fucking banana peel slip and just like hit your ass on the floor. So this is a real photos taken seconds before disaster sort of vibe to me.
Okay, now I'm starting to like the model.
Yeah, because like it's one thing if I like decide to like trudge around my house and whoops, I slip on a paperback. It's another if I'm doing it whilst holding a potentially revving chainsaw with a hat that is on fire.
Yeah, there's a lot of hazardous situations with this model, and definitely a don't try this at home feel. Did you know, Campbell, that in Blood Bowl, which we're going to talk about in a minute, if a guy with a chainsaw gets blocked, then he has a higher potential of taking damage because he's holding a revving chainsaw?
I like this a lot. Blood Bowl's good, guys.
Anyways, okay, so with the caveat that he's slipping on these books and about to fall down, and he's not actually raising his eviscerator to strike, but he's windmilling it to try to keep some balance. Like, I think I'm more into the model. However, Deacon Malikev, his scribe and assistant, is a completely fantastic model. When you want to talk about Imperial or Necromunda weirdos, like this is what I'm thinking. And to those who haven't seen it yet, he's this little robot man whose entire body has been changed to repurpose for writing down whatever Clovis says.
Yeah, I love this. Like, he's so like right from the margins of like a Dave Gallagher like filler piece from like the old 4th edition rulebook or whatever.
Absolutely.
I love this. This is a weirdo Power X Wallace. Like, I love he's even got like a little robot arm turning the page behind him and shit.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you were to have your entire body replaced by robot parts and the one thing you kept was your like old flabby old man face, that feels like kind of a slap in said old flabby old man face.
And your pendulous double chin. like he's like, all right, I need a whole new body, but keep the fat double chin.
Yeah, can you keep the shitty parts? Thanks.
Yeah. And the jowls. All right, I'm gonna end up buying this because Cawdor and Redemptionist.
Yeah.
So I'm making fun of Clovis, but in all honesty, it's gonna be purchased.
It's a good model. There is some weirdness to it, but it's a good model.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good model. I don't want to call it a great model. I think the rest of the range are for the most part great, but it's a good model. Yeah, I'll give it that. And Malikev is great. Is 100% great.
Again, it's like with that one sister's character with like Lady
Estrid
Dolan.
Thurga and whatever
Dolan.
Agatha Dolan.
Dolan, yeah. I only remember because I'm like, oh yeah, it's Peter's grandma.
Yeah.
Like, again, the weirdo in that kit is the standout. Like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Warhammer weirdos like aren't really viable as like squads in the tabletop, but they're the best part of the setting, in my humble opinion.
Good opinion having, Campbell. So let's move on to Blood Bowl, where we're going to talk about Max Spleen Ripper, who is a chainsaw wielding chaos cultist, or just one cultist rather. And if that little phrase doesn't sell you on Blood Bowl listeners, then I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. Blood Bowl is the best game that Games Workshop produces because it's fun, it's funny, and it's the only game where it's not fucking serious.
Yeah, this dude's got also real like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figure vibes, and I don't mean that in a bad way whatsoever.
What was that video game where you were like a band member and you had to go play metal at Monsters to win?
Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend. Yeah, this gives me serious Brutal Legend vibes.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, the dude's he's throwing up the fucking horns. Yeah, of course it does.
Yeah. What do you think he went to University of Texas? A little hook 'em horns action there?
I don't think this guy even got into a community college, all right?
No, he's clearly... Well, hold up now. He is a chaos cultist. He may have read some texts.
Yeah, he says he's a corn cultist, not a Zinch cultist.
I guess the corn cultists they're not really books, they're more pamphlets, aren't they?
Yeah. If anything, this dude might have read like a menu once.
I'm just like thinking like you go into like the Chaos God recruiter station and you like you roll in and you see the Nurgle recruiter, and he's just a fat shitty guy, and you're like, oh god. You look over at the Zinch recruiter and there's like 6 of them, like, and they're all on fire. And they're all talking in different languages at the same time, but somehow that they're the same words. And, they're just like flitting around and changing and everything. And you're just like, wow. The Slanesh recruiter, not even there, in the bathroom doing drugs. And then you see the corn recorder who's like just putting down the phone. And he's like, hey, I'm glad you stopped in. Here's this pamphlet on corn. And you open it up and it's one word and it says kill. And you're like, now.
Very compelling.
Hey, fella, you make a good point with this here pamphlet. Where do I sign on the dotted line?
Yeah, you just sign your name, which is in every instance for this guy just an X.
Right. So I get that. I mean, I feel that. I'm feeling that. It's a great model though. This is. And the funny thing is, we were talking in the last thing, like the chainsaw rules in Blood Bowl are hilarious because the first thing, if you're going to activate your chainsaw and block somebody with it, the first thing you have to do is roll 2 up, and if you roll 1, you've hit yourself with a chainsaw. and at the end you have to get knocked down and you have to take the armor check with a +3, and armor is on 2d6, and this guy's got an 8+. So all I got to do is roll a 5, and I'm sorry, it's a 9+. Roll 6 on 2 dice, and this guy's probably dead.
Hell yeah.
So, and that's just the start of the chainsaw rules, friends. So if you're looking for some real fun, might I suggest a Blood Bowl?
I also do think that this dude would make a great like Necromunda Pit fighter too. Like with
absolutely,
bare minimum of conversion.
Oh yeah, totally. You could take that little arm that's holding the chainsaw there. You could cut off the flesh part of the arm, throw in some sort of mechanical situation. You could scratch build almost easily,
right?
And then next thing you know, you got a chainsaw man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's
a
great.
chainsaw warrior even.
All right, and so the last thing we're going to talk about in new stuff is the Warhammer Plus preview. And I got to say, I'm a lot more excited about this service than I was when they had announced it. There is a lot of stuff here. We can talk about the pricing first. $6 a month, or if you sign up for the yearly subscription, $60 a year, which you math geniuses out there might be thinking, wait a second, Dan. There's 12 months in the year, but $60 is only 10 times more expensive than $6. And yes, listener, it seems like they're giving you 2 months for free.
Yeah, which is honestly, like, at first when they just showed the animations, which is all they've shown really until this particular preview, it was very much like some of these look neat, but I don't want to necessarily pay for just these. This isn't the kind of content that you and I always engage with.
Right.
I talked about how, like, animation's expensive. I want to support that industry because animation rules, but it's not really like, it wasn't that compelling. But this isn't just animations. That was like the cool sizzle reel shit they showed off at first. Yep. There's so much more fucking stuff, and like preview, like a spoiler here, there's actually a good value. Like, this is kind of wild.
Yeah, I was actually very impressed with this whole situation. And let's talk about the miniatures first, because if you stick with it for, I think, a year, they'll send you a free miniature, and you get to choose between a Auric for an orc, basically the good kind, not the shitty kind from Dominion, for AOS, a mega boss, something like that.
Orc mega boss. Yeah.
Auric mega boss, or a brand new Vindicare assassin out of left fucking field.
Yeah.
Because we've got somewhat recent assassin models, but Auric mega boss, blah blah blah. Who cares? Whatever. It doesn't matter, because this fucking Vindicare is just about the coolest Imperial model I've seen in a long goddamn time. Because you know what they did with them, Campbell?
I do, but I'd love to hear you say it.
They put this motherfucker up in the Sisters of Battle version of the Statue of Liberty, and just like, you can play with that if you want to.
Yeah, it's hilarious because it's still on a little 40 mil base.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's like the size of the Sisters Flying Pulpit thing. Yeah. It is. Here's the thing. I feel like this is more of a diorama piece than just a regular
100%.
Play piece. And
100%.
That's what I'm fucking here for. Like, collector's model type things like this, I think should be like cool alternative diorama pieces like this.
And just so if you don't know what we're talking about when I was making Statue of Liberty jokes, it's similar to the Celestine terrain piece, like the top half, like the bust of her head and neck and shoulders, which has been blasted out by warfare, and the Vindicare is perched in her head, aiming down the scope of his rifle, and it's an incredible piece. Something that, I mean, okay, I am on record not liking a ton of scenery on my models. And because it's a nightmare to play with for the most part. And like Hero Rocks, where it's just like, you've got a Space Marine character, but now he's taller because he's on a Jersey barrier. Like, that sucks. I'm not into that whatsoever. But this kind of scenery on a model, which is completely overblown, like it is a ridiculous amount of scenery, which you just mentioned. I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Like, it is just a really cool, like, centerpiece, display piece sort of thing. Like, I imagine we're going to see some of these in painting competitions just because it is such an impressive piece on its own already.
Yeah, personally,
were I to get it, I think I'd actually probably use the sister bust as like part of a building, like piece of terrain sort of thing, like part of the facade of a ruin or whatever. Because I think that makes more sense, and 2 is just like a more usable, cool place for it to be. While the Vindicator itself in there with the sniper rifle is still pretty fucking cool. And yeah, it's really out of left field, and I'm very happy to see it. And I also
I'll tell you what, Campbell. I'll tell you what. I'm going to be signing us up for Warhammer Plus via the Badcast business zone, and I will pick this model and send it to you.
I appreciate that. I
already have a Vindicator or Vindicare. I have Vindicator too. For better and for worse. And I think that since you're the much more prolific painter between the two of us, I think, and also I'd argue that you're the more creative painter between the two of us, I think it would do better in your hands than mine.
Thanks, bud.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about some of these shows here. Oh boy, there's a lot of shows to talk about. And I would even argue too many to talk about right now, because they had this little video of the shows, and there's like fucking 20 of them.
Yeah, I'm not going to go in depth in any animations here, just because like a lot of them are just a logo right now or just a clip of a dude yelling. Right. And we've seen, we've already talked about a few of them already.
I feel like this is definitely the time to reserve judgment on these animated shows. I'm actually kind of more excited to see them after this preview. I haven't been all that excited because it's not really a part of the hobby for me.
Right.
Watching shows. So, whatever. But I want to see them now, and and it's definitely, we're going to talk about them on the show.
Yeah.
So like, it's cool. I think I'm kind of turning around on this whole project. I'm starting to think that it is really cool, and I'm pretty excited about it. Let's talk about their non-animated shows, because I'm actually very interested in these. First up, we've got Citadel Color Masterclass, hosted by Louise. I forget her last name. I think it starts with an S.
It's Sugden or Sugden. I can't remember how to pronounce it.
And she's a fantastic painter.
Yeah,
her Twitter is one of the, I'm sure she's on Instagram too, but I'm not, so I don't, that's, all Greek to me. But her Twitter is a fantastic follow, because her models are some of the most colorful, some of the most ingenious, and some of the most, just frankly, impressive models that come out of any of the Games Workshop staff. And she's got a ton of charisma. So I'm extremely excited to watch a painting masterclass hosted by her. And I imagine they'll probably get guests from their studio painters to teach people new ideas and new techniques when it comes to painting.
Yeah, I'd assume so, since each painter kind of has their own specialties. But like, they brought her on, like they announced a little while ago they're bringing her on as like a Warhammer TV presenter, and I'm just like, again, you said like lots of charisma, like very enthusiastic person to watch, but like the stuff that like Nick and Peachy do in their typical like, Warhammer painting tip of the day sort of things are good and useful, but didn't really seem like her bag. Because like you said, like she isn't an army painter. She's someone who paints like really wild display models and like really creative, inventive things. Like this seems like a way better fit for that.
Right.
And
but this is masterclass. This is not the YouTube show telling everybody how to paint their armies quickly,
right?
Which I think is very important and very good content. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, that's extremely important and useful information.
But this is for people who want to level up their painting, which is something that I'm always interested in learning about.
Same.
Especially when it's techniques that are just brush techniques.
Yeah.
When it doesn't take $600 worth of technology to level up someone's painting. I'm looking at you, airbrush enthusiasts. That's right. I'm calling you out once again.
Look at you, airbrush CrossFit folks.
I'm gonna get fucking tweets and emails about this. I always do, from the airbrush people.
Please, Dan. We always do.
So very excited about the Masterclass painting show. Next up, we got Lore Masters, which is going to be hosted by Wade Price, who I like quite a bit, though he needs to back up off of his microphone when he does his podcast, because he has potentially even more mouth sounds than you do. But I think that's a function of where he is in spatial relationship with his microphone sometimes.
Yeah, he's very much a dude who knows what he's talking about here. And I've got to say, like, all the shows they're doing here seem like they're kind of like, oh, you know those YouTube shows that are out there that people do? We're going to do those, but with like a budget and people who know what they're talking about. Because like the number of like lore channels that are either one hosted by fascists or two just somebody reading a Lexicanum article, typos and all, which I have heard, or have someone say like the orcs and Armageddon. I'm just like, fucking get an editor. Like the number of like very shitty lore shows that are out there. Like I'm stoked to see this done with someone who knows what they're talking about. And they also said he'd get like, they'd probably be able to get some like behind the scenes stuff talking with the actual writers and so on. And that is really interesting.
Well, I mean, like this is, okay. This, one of the complaints that people were having, even there's a Goonhammer round table about this preview. And one of the complaints that I read from that roundtable is like, this is all stuff that you can get for free on the internet, so why pay for it? And the answer is, to whoever wrote that, because they will do it right over at Games Workshop. It's not going to be some fucko sitting in his basement with his fucking air conditioner blasting in the background, speaking into a fucking USB mic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then having fucking a Ken Burns effect on JPEGs that they downloaded from the internet.
On highly compressed JPEGs with iStock photo.
Highly compressed JPEG photos that they downloaded from the internet from a Google search for striking scorpions or whatever the fuck, that they throw into iMovie and then shit that out on YouTube. Like, it's going to be better. The production values are going to be higher, and the people that are going to be on there might actually know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm excited for something like that.
Yeah. I'm going to miss my friend Unregistered Hypercam too, but I'm looking forward to this.
Next up, we have a battle report show, and I don't watch battle reports because they're long and they're boring, and they're generally... Warhammer is not a spectator sport. All right.
No.
I know that some people out there love watching battle reports. And I realize that a lot of it is like the personalities of the people on the battle reports. But I don't know, man. This seems to me like it's just not something I've ever been interested in. However, they showed a little clip from this with a multi-camera setup, nice cameras, so clear pictures of everything, beautifully fully painted armies on great terrain in a studio that they seem to have custom built and lit for this purpose. And I'm hoping that they edit these things down to like an hour or less.
Well, like when I share your sentiments in this completely. When I was doing my old like Cam Hammer show, I was going to do battle reports with the idea that they'd be like 15 minutes long and not really much longer. Just because like a 2.5 hour, 2 to 4 hour even battle report type thing is a slog. Like I know a lot of people like them. A lot of people use them as painting background. I used to use them as painting background even until I started to get kind of tired of the same stock music being used over and over again because they all use the same Incompetech Kevin MacLeod stock music to a fault. You're right though. It's not a spectator sport. Like I used to watch the Warhammer Live stuff when they started doing that. And even if I liked the people doing it, it's like watching people trying to commentate on a 4-hour turn-based game. And like there are moments of drama where it's like, all right, is my captain going to make his save or whatever? But for the most part, it is like watching people push models on the table and roll some dice. Like an after the fact battle report where you like just do the highlights and maybe do some of the key shots and all that stuff could be extremely cool. Because like if you read a White Dwarf battle report, which is kind of what this is the evolution of, it doesn't take the length of the entire magazine. It's over the course of like 6 to 10 pages or whatever.
Right.
You get to see the highlights. Yeah, get to see what happens, and you might get an idea of how certain units perform. So depending on how it is, I might watch it, I might not watch it. I think actually one of the strengths of this as a streaming service is that not everything is for everyone, but there is something for everyone. And coming from a production background of like producing content for hobbyists, basically. For my job, it's for investing hobbyists, do-it-yourself investment fans, to Warhammer and AOS hobbyists. Like I am
have kind of a unique viewpoint here, because like the live content, the painting show, the lore masters, the battle reports, that's the stuff that you can just churn out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get multiple battle reports done in a week. I would imagine you set aside an evening or an afternoon or even a full day to film one, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go in and you have your editors work on that for the next week. Yeah. And if you're doing that with enough people to support that, you can just keep on doing that. And it's even easier for the other shows. So like this is the kind of if they can keep up with quality, and if they can have the good personalities. Now we already got Wade Price, we already got Louise. I don't know who the fella is who's doing the battle reports.
Yeah, Patrick Price is the first I've heard of him. No relation to Wade Price, as far as I gather. Different
Price
spelling.
is a pretty common last name.
Yeah.
So I don't know that guy. I'm hoping, from the little tiny bit that we saw, he seemed to be having a good time playing Warhammer. So I'm hoping that's that they can keep up with the content and keep up with the quality there, because if they can, then every other lore, battle report, or painting situation on the internet right now, they can't compete with the production values that Games Workshop can get in that can put towards this. And I'm excited about that, because I'm an audio engineer by trade. I don't listen to podcasts that don't sound good. Hopefully this podcast always sounds good, because it's very important to me that it always does. I also don't like to watch videos that don't look good. Yeah. I don't like it when people put stuff out with editing errors, with continuity errors, with all the shit that comes from trying to rush something to production, right? Mm-hmm. I don't like doing that, because I don't have to. And if Games Workshop is going to give me a situation where I can watch actually good, well-produced stuff for all of these things, I'm going to fucking watch them, dude.
Yeah, and I think also the best case scenario here, which I think is actually more likely than not, is that like if Games Workshop is putting out stuff like this sort of content at a high production level, that means other people are going to need to step up their game to compete. Yeah. And hopefully, I don't know if that'll, be reciprocal or what, but like if them putting out good battle reports, good painting tutorials, good lore videos, and I will say there are good examples of those three out there. There are from other people, but like if those are officially coming out at a certain level of quality, that's only going to need to make other people step up their game too. And right. I think that could be good for everyone. And again, since this is paid and not free, for one, it has a budget, but for two, like that the stuff that's out there that's free is not going away. Like the fan content is not going away. From what they said in the stream, the free, like the currently free YouTube stuff from GW, so like the podcasts and like the painting tip a day type stuff, those aren't going away. I hope it stays that way, because I think that stuff's very important to have, but especially at a free thing for introductory people. But I don't know. I think this is only going to be a good thing for the general ecosystem of media created around this game.
Yeah, sure. I just hope Snipe and Wib stay in the game, because I really like their videos.
They've got their own sort of shtick, and I don't think that's going to go anywhere.
I hope not. Snipe and Wib, come on our show, please.
I would love for them to come on our show. Please come on our show.
All right, let's jump through the rest of this real quick. We've got access to the apps, the AOS and 40k app, which not a lot of value there for me, because I do all my army building myself on custom made spreadsheets, because I'm a complete psychopath.
I do the same thing.
And then the Warhammer Vault, which is kind of a nothing burger to me, because it's going to be digital copies of their previously released and obscure stuff, which, there's a lot of fun art and a lot of fun background and stuff in there. But to me, like, I already have a bunch of these books that they are even advertising on this webpage. So like Montka and Hour of the Wolf, I don't think I have Fall of Cadia, but it doesn't matter. I have those in hard copy. Right. So like, I don't know. I'm kind of a hoarder when it comes to old books, mainly so I can look back to them for modeling ideas, army ideas, campaign ideas, that sort of stuff. So I don't know. I just feel like it's cool, but it's not the kind of thing that's going to make me want to subscribe to it.
That's exciting. It's exciting to me, actually, because I have plenty of old books. I have plenty of old White Dwarfs and so on. Don't have all of them.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, neither do they right away. They're going to drip feed this for fucking ever, because they have, they have 40 years of this shit to pump out. Like, that's fine. And yeah, especially for other people who maybe don't have the physical space, because I've lived in some small ass apartments, or just don't have the desire to hunt down White Dwarf issue 107 because I had a cool article about Harlequins or whatever. Like, I think this is going to be a growing value add, and I think it's very cool. I've wanted them to do like digital archives of like old White Dwarfs and stuff for years, so I'm actually pretty into this.
Okay, I mean, I'll tell you what, bud, you might be changing my mind.
I might be,
because there is, I don't buy every White Dwarf. I only usually buy White Dwarfs when I remember to buy one. You know what I mean? When I'm in the store, I'm like, oh, new White Dwarf, sure, I'll buy it. So yeah, cool. Oh, and then finally they talk about some event extras, but they don't give us any details on that. So
yeah, there's some nebulous extra experience. There's talk of like offers like cheaper gift vouchers to the web store and stuff like which coupons from Games Workshop in the year for Horde 2021,
Coops, baby.
That's
I
wild.
love me a coop.
I'd be happy to clip some coops.
Yeah, so I think that this is a reasonable pay situation. Like Netflix is like what, $15 a month now.
Yeah.
So I think this is reasonable stuff to ask for this sort of thing. I think that the value might actually be there. Like it could seriously be there, and I'm pretty excited about it. So good job, GW.
At $60 a year, it seems like they're really trying to market this as like the essential companion to like every Warham. And at that price point, I don't mind it.
No. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, let's move on to WMDK. This time, Campbell, it's not a question.
Oh.
Unbelievably. But it's actually a recipe and story shared to us via email by our friend Jason Sniffen. So this is where we're going to shill for Torco Boca Reporco, which of course is our brand new show that we put out for our fuckboy tier of the Patreon supporters, where we review Taco Bell menu items. Because why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we do this?
We're impassioned about this.
So we actually got an email from our friend and listener, Jason Sniffen, who has some experience with this stuff. So let's read on. Jason says, had to listen to your first episode, and he's referring to Torco Boca Reporco there. As a former team member of a Yum Brands KFC/Taco Bell, I can say it was an interesting experience. My time behind the counter and making those savory objects of jewel-like wonder made your review of the menu items that much more interesting. The upside of my dual restaurant was I had a blend of menu items at my disposal. I wonder how my Mr. Boyd would like my custom, with a K, thank you, chicken quesadilla. And Jason goes on to describe the recipe here. I would forego the healthier, in quotes, my quotes here, emphasis mine, grilled Taco Bell chicken for an overflowing handful of KFC popcorn chicken.
Hell yeah.
Spread it out end to end on the open tortilla with more cheese than my manager would approve of, and give it a liberal application of the now discontinued Baja sauce. This was by far the best bottled sauce at Taco Bell in my experience. Why they got rid of it is a mystery and is probably the sole reason millennials have statistically less belief in God. I would fold this monstrosity closed and palm slam this Badcast bad boy on the quesadilla press. After the industrial appliance wails 3 loud beeps begging me to remove the item, I let it sit an extra 5 to 10 seconds to give the tortilla extra crisp. With a little smoke emanating underneath, I release the press and slide the spatula under the abomination, the thin metal bending under the weight, and stuff the wrapper with my finest creation. He goes on to say, I had 15 minutes to eat this on my lunch break, which I would do with a Diet Pepsi plus a shot of red-flavored Hawaiian punch. As we were a KFC/Taco Bell, we had limited menus of both restaurants, so our store didn't have Baja Blast, to basically every customer's dismay. Looking forward to more of these episodes. Keep up the great work. Jason, what a thrilling and delicious sounding meal that you were able to make at your KFC Taco Bell. I, for one, am filled with envy.
Yeah, and Jason, for one, is filled with sodium, I suppose. I'm just like, I'm picturing hitting like a stopwatch and having to time yourself as you only have 15 minutes to hound this fucking thing. Because like popcorn chicken is a little chewy, I'm not going to lie.
It's also got the crispiness in it. Jason, your ideas here are absolutely fantastic. The only thing that would elevate it is if you left those popcorns in the fryer for, another 10 to 20 seconds to get a little extra crispy in there. And then, oh, homeboy, we are in business.
We are in Yum Brands business. That sounds absolutely incredible. And I similarly am highly envious of this creation, even if it might shorten the lifespan of its devourer by a not inconsiderable margin.
Hey, man. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
It's later than you think.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's quickly shill one more time. Torco, Borco, Raporco. You can go to Patreon, patreon.com/40k Badcast. You can sign up for the Fuckboy tier, which is $6.90 a month because we're hilarious. You can pay the joke amount of money
dollars
to us, and you can listen to this brand new show. We're going to be putting out episodes every month, and they are short. They are easily digestible,
unlike Taco Bell.
So get out there, sign up for that, and join us in the wonderful menu of Taco Bell. All right. Well, it's 5:35 p.m. on a Thursday, and I haven't eaten anything since lunch. That's not true. I had an afternoon snack. So let's talk about food some more, Campbell.
Yeah.
More fast food content for the listeners out there. That's right. It's the 40K Burger Shack, or another one of Campbell's wackadoo ideas for segments where he can just do puns.
Yeah, no, this is Campbell's prepared pun segment. Thank you for giving me the setup here. But yeah, it's summertime, man, and it's actually hell outside here. It's going to be triple digits real soon, as my entire state is on fire. Sorry, my entire coast is on fire. But yeah, it's still grilling weather of sorts. Because God's grilling my state.
Best coast, huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yes.
Sounds like it over there. Meanwhile, here in Virginia, it's 75 degrees with low humidity. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm super pissed because I've had a lot of work to do today, and I'm recording this podcast. I haven't been able to spend any of it really outside. So, yeah, how's that for fun?
That sounds really fun. Conversely, I'm thrilled that I'm inside right now. So, yeah, we're both Bergen. Whomst amongst us is not Bergen, at least a little bit at any given time. And
have you tried Impossible Burger yet?
Plenty of times.
Oh my God, it's so good.
It's pretty damn good.
I am 100% convert to Impossible Burger.
I won't say I'm a total convert because I have as the person who's to edit out my mouth sounds, I have quite a bit of burping going on. And every time I burp for like 4 hours after having Impossible Beef or Beyond Beef, it just tastes like pea protein. PEA, not PEE protein.
I don't think there's a lot of protein in piss.
Piss protein. Well, no, piss protein is actually a delightful energy drink, I'm sure.
That's what I buy from GNC so I can get real big muscles.
So you can just have a real strong stream.
Fuck yeah, dude.
But yeah, so for a couple of hours I always have that sort of like back taste, but like while I'm eating it, especially if it's like cooked in something that isn't just like straight up a patty of it or whatever, I would not even know it's not beef. Like I can't believe it's not cow.
Can't believe it.
Literally cannot believe it. Beside myself with disbelief at how much this is not cow.
Before you set up the segment, why the hell is this show so fast food focused?
I think it is just a confluence of events. We are nearing our episode 100, and I think we're just becoming more and more ourselves.
The centennial.
Yeah, this is true. And for what it's worth, the Factor fan fiction last episode was fast food based. This one, not quite so much.
Okay. So set up the segment for us, please.
All right. We conceptualized a trio of burgers each for Campbell's prepared pun segment. And just a quick disclaimer, I'm not a very good cook. I didn't super take flavors into consideration with all of these, so probably don't make them yourself. But I promise they won't kill you if you do.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't think we were actually making burger recipes. I thought we were just conceptualizing burgers.
This is conceptualizing. I'm not going to walk you through how to make them because I'd be kind of flailing more so than I am right now as I vamp for time. So my first burger here is the Chaos Undivided Burger, a burger representing all four Chaos gods. First, it's got to be served like exceptionally rare. It's got to be bloody. It's got to still be mooing as befitting corn. To represent Zinch and the Changer of Ways, it is going to have 3 different kinds of cheese in 3 different states to represent the said change. So you've got Parmesan crisp, you've got melted smoked Gouda because there's that fire sort of aspect to Zinch, and just cheese curds on there because I don't fucking know. It is going to be served with some deep fried blobs of ground beef, which I'll call burglings. Which have a green pesto dipping sauce. And lastly, it's covered in special Slanesh sauce. And I'll let you use your imagination there. It's just Thousand Island dressing left in the sun.
Oh, and would you repeat the name of this, please?
The Kawas Undivided.
Oh, wow. That is... Yeah, it's the planned Campbell's prepared puns segment all over again. Okay, that's funny. That's good. That's good content. Yeah. I got one.
All right.
I'm calling it the Nurgle Burgle.
All right.
All right, so this one let's start with the patty. Mm-hmm. We're going to have, so Nurgle, of course, famous for disease, but also famous for rot. And in food terms, rot can actually improve the taste of some food.
True.
So we're talking dry aged beef and mixed up with prosciutto in the patty itself.
Okay.
So that's dry age, of course, is a fancy way of saying dry and kind of rotted beef. And prosciutto, if you've ever seen prosciutto as it's curing, it's disgusting. So you've got that in the patty. In the cheese, we're gonna go with like a nice blue cheese or perhaps a Roquefort in there, which of course has a lot of mold cultures in it for taste.
Yep.
It's where the blue comes from, the blue cheese. So you've got some rot in there. And then finally, our bun is going to be a nice sourdough burger bun.
All right.
Perhaps not a sourdough itself, but a live culture bread like a sourdough, using either a mother or a SCOBY or whatever else. So you're going to have the themes of rot and microbial growth into every level of the Nurgle Burgle.
But it won't kill you.
It won't kill you. It'll actually, if you like that kind of cheese, I do not. I do not like blue cheese. I do not like Roquefort cheese. They are too funky for me.
Yeah.
Very few things are too funky for me, but those cheeses are. If you like those cheeses, this burger will probably taste completely excellent.
Yeah. No, I find those cheeses to taste kind of the way like a locker room smells.
Yeah.
But that burger does sound, on the whole, pretty all right.
Yeah. That's a real burger that I made up for this show.
Highly conceptual. Highly conceptual.
All right. What else you got?
We did just talk about Impossible Burger and so on, which is where I come in with my vegan option, which is the Green Tide Burger. So this is going to be made with plant-based protein. So either Impossible, whatever brand of fake beef you want. Topped with, and it's got kind of a Southwestern sort of flavor to it. So it's got vegan pepper jack cheese, which does exist, which of course is going to have like green ancho chilies and green jalapenos in there, just, to get that color going. Going to have guacamole, lettuce, onion, and it is served on the spicy Angriest Whopper red buns that you could get for a while because red buns go faster.
That was the whole joke for this, wasn't it? All of that was a setup for that line, huh?
I will totally say that, because if you aren't vegan, you can obviously get it with regular cheese and so on. And that's where you get to bring in the really expensive stuff, which is the Wagyu beef. I'm much happier with myself than you are right now.
I will continue participating in this segment, but only under protest. Let the umpires know that I'm drawing a P in the air here under protest.
You were badcasting under duress.
Do you even want me to continue with this segment? Do you just want to do your last pun so we can move on?
No. You contribute. Your ideas are better than mine.
Okay, well, this next one is kind of inspired by Joshua Weissman on YouTube, which is really good cooking. I watch a lot of cooking YouTube because I love cooking and I love learning about different cooking techniques and stuff. But he recently had a show where he completely deconstructed a burger, and I think that the Eldari burger is going to be the eventual ancestor or to what Joshua Weissman is doing, which is like completely deconstructing every moment of a burger, and it will of course be completely inedible and terrible. So they're going to use the Eldari burger is like first meat sous vide, only sous vide.
Okay.
Not even grilled afterwards, because sous vide, of course, it's got the best flavor. And the Eldari, they have to have the best of everything. So they're just going to sous vide the meat. So it's going to be a jiggly gray blob.
Delicious.
Which, that's awesome. That sounds fantastic. Let's talk about cheese. Cheese, you know what? Maybe they sous vide the meat in milk. Pre-cheese.
Milk steak.
So a milk burger, everybody's favorite idea ever. And perhaps maybe they have some pre-cheese and some after cheese in there too. And maybe it's just cheese or milk with some mold cultures. This is sounding terrible.
This sounds. I'm sure this is somebody's. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yums, but I'm firmly on the yuck side of the needle right now.
Oh no, it's awful. This is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And then finally for the bun, I feel like what they're going to do is they're going to take this, take bread to its eventual conclusion, crumbs, right? Because bread starts as bread, and then it will eventually become crumbs. And so they just sort of dust the cultured milk sous vide with some breadcrumbs, and they call that a burger.
I think the birth of Slaanesh didn't go far enough.
Ooh. Yowzes. Yeah, so that's the Eldari burger. Completely inedible, awful, and terrible. But the elves, they can't get enough of it.
All right. That's fair. That's fair. They're noted for having bad taste. Whew. All right. Speaking of bad taste, my last burger here is one that's yours is inspired by a cook, but mine was inspired by a literary series. This is my burger inspired by the Horus Heresy series. It's extremely long, but kind of a nothing burger much of the time. And that's where the bun remembered empire comes in, which is literally just the 3 buns from a Big Mac with nothing else.
I'm quitting the podcast.
Yay, I win.
I hate these puns so much.
I love them so goddamn much.
I don't even want to do my third one.
You should. You should help us pull up out of this. I'm done punning on this segment.
Boy. Well, I was thinking, okay, what is what is going to be the future of food, right? Mm-hmm. And in Necromunda and in a lot of our books and stuff that involve the Imperium, they talk a lot about corpse starch, right? Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I don't think that corpse starch is going to be anywhere on the horizon anytime soon for modern cooking techniques. But what is on the horizon here in the Mid-Atlantic region of the United States are cicadas, because we had billions of them come out of the ground and scream for a month, and then they all died, and they're just gone now. But while they were around, people were preparing them as food, and so that got me thinking: bugs, bugs. Tyrannids.
Ooh, okay.
So I was trying to think of some sort of like all insect kind of burger situation that you could create using insect or insect inspired ingredients. Mm-hmm. And so of course we're gonna start with the patty. And this is where things kind of get weird, because insects on their own, you mash them up like cicadas. You mash them up; they're not going to form a burger patty.
Okay.
Mostly, what people were doing was that they were deep frying them, right? Mm-hmm. And apparently, they taste like shrimp.
Weird. Well, shrimp are sea bugs,
which is very interesting to me.
Yeah.
I did not eat any cicadas. I just want to put that out there to the listeners. I have other things to eat that I prefer, so I ate those instead. And some people ate cicadas, and that was great. But for me, no thanks. Anyways, so you gotta figure something out. Maybe it's a plant protein that binds them together. Maybe it's just beef. It's like crunchy beef burgers with bug parts in them. Like that sounds delicious.
Like smash burger, yeah.
Then as far as cheese goes, now this I think is where we can get creative, right?
Okay.
Because you got vegan cheese, which is plant protein that's been compressed into cheese squares,
right?
Basically, and they throw a lot of salt in there because cheese is salt. I have this maybe not conspiracy theory, but I have this thought that the first cheeses were made because people realized that like you could put salt on beef to keep it or salt on meat to keep it so it wouldn't go bad. So they're just like, well, what about this milk? What if I put salt in the milk? They put salt in the milk. They put it into the pantry for a while. It comes out and it's cheese.
It has the air of truthiness to it.
So I don't know if that's the case. It's probably not the case, but it seems like something that somebody would do down the line. Mm-hmm. Anyways, we're gonna make some bug cheese here, bud. We're gonna smash them fuckers up, all right? And we're gonna bind them together, and we're gonna throw some salt on it. And next thing you know, we got some bug cheese. Well, sounds delicious, doesn't it?
Sure, one could say that.
All right. And then finally, we're gonna take a bun. Now we can't put bugs into buns. We just can't do it. Doesn't make any fucking sense.
No.
But what we can do is take delicious crispy ants and put them on top instead of sesame seeds.
Okay.
And there you go. There's your bug burger.
Wow.
Your Tyranid bug burger. Completely delicious.
Sure. I would have expected maybe more of a Carnifex as butcher sort of thing going into this sort of idea, because that's what that means.
So I thought of it like, what kind of burger would a Tyranid want to eat? Mm-hmm. And the answer is a Tyranid doesn't fucking care.
No.
They don't know about burgers yet.
No.
You know what? Maybe could be the thing that stops them from taking over the galaxy, is they hear about burgers, and then now all they want to do is make a burger stand.
Like, whenever people are like, oh, why don't they advance the timeline and make Warhammer 41k? It's because in Warhammer 41k, Tyranids invent burgers and everyone is fucked. Because with the invention of the burger comes a new level of like cognitive power, and that's the end. That's the end game of the Warhammer setting. So you don't want Tyranids to have burgers, but we can explore it here.
This is the real hard-hitting stuff that our listeners are coming to the show for.
This is the lore channel you should be subscribing to.
Hell yeah. Give us $60 a year, jerks.
Many of you already do. Thank you.
Thank you. We love you. All right. Well, that was a great little segment there, Campbell. Thank you for your puns.
Thank you for your actual thinking about food.
I tried. I would actually like the Nurgle Burgle. I'd give that a shot.
I would give that a shot, and I would definitely have some burglings.
There you go. Yeah, the burglings sound pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on. We've got a new edition of Crusade Focus. We're looking at the Adeptus Mechanicus this time. Mm-hmm. The Codex came out recently, and whoo boy, Campbell, you know how it goes on this show. On this segment of this show. This is a damn good Crusade section. It might be my favorite so far.
I will say on more than one occasion reading this, I just went, fuck me, that's complicated.
Oh my God. It's the perfect level of complicated for Admech, which is to say far too complicated.
Yeah, I mean, the entire codex is, and this is kind of like Admech Codex, Quo, Admech's Codex, where it's just like, it's layered shit. It's cool though. It's very fucking cool. And
oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of this. I think it like the spirit behind it is extremely Adeptus Mechanicus.
Yeah, I think every time, whenever people say that some of the new codexes or whatever codices, seem phoned in or whatever, or like under playtest or whatever, I think it's because a lot of the creative energy is going into these Crusade sections, because I have not been disappointed by them yet. I don't think.
No, honestly, now you look back at the Marine and Necron Crusade sections and you're just sort of like, man, these could be cooler.
Yeah.
But when they came out, they were the only ones so far. And you're like, oh, these are really fun.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's get into it. Let's talk about some agendas here. First one, and of course, agendas are the Crusade version of secondary objectives that give experience and Crusade rewards instead of victory points.
Correct.
So, tech scavengers. Pick the enemy vehicle with the highest power level. That unit that kills it gets 3 experience. And the enemy vehicle itself, you place an objective where it used to be. The objective can be acted upon, with an action. And if it is, the Admech player gains 1 Archaeotech part. Now, Campbell, you might be thinking to yourself, Dan, what the hell is an Archaeotech part? Well, dear friendo, just listen and we'll tell you.
Yeah. It's wild that this starts with my favorite agenda, because I love, every time we've talked about these, I've talked about any agenda that adds objectives to the table that changes the flow of the game.
It's always good.
It's always
good.
Yeah, it's always good. And actually, when I played against Caitlin a few weeks ago, she got to use this one against my Dreadnought. And when she killed with her Tech Priest, she got the little Archaeotech objective afterwards. It was cool.
Nice.
And I love this. This one is perfectly Admech. Of course, they're going to be looking for the coolest piece of tech on the table.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Yeah. All right, next we got Break the Seals. This one, you randomly select an objective. That objective can have an action performed on it. If it is the unit that performed the action, gains a paltry 1 experience and the chance to roll a die. And on a 5-up, the unit gains another experience and an Archaeotech weapon part.
Right.
And we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a little bit, y'all. Just hold on.
Yeah.
This one, I don't really like it too much because you're randomly selecting objective 1, and it can't be one in your deployment zone, but it could be in the other player's deployment zone.
See, I like this one because, for one, it changes the flow of the game again, because now you have a priority objective.
Yeah, but you're also only getting a total of 2 experience on 1 unit.
Not necessarily. You can keep doing it until you until you get that 5-up. Like, you're just going to be fishing for 5-ups, but you can keep getting experience points that way. And anything that gets you more Archaeotech parts, I think, is cool, just intrinsically.
But you could also not roll a 5-up at all the entire game, and you don't get any.
That's also true. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I think the 5-up is a little too much for this one. I think it should probably be a 4-up, but
that's fair.
Whatever. It's you're right. It does change the flow of the game, but I do not like it more than Tech Scavengers.
Agreed.
All right. Next up, we've got Omnissiah's Will. This one, you choose one of the canticles, which of course are the single codex bonus for Adeptus, the monofaction, whatever people are calling it, for Adeptus Mechanicus. If 3 or more enemy units are destroyed while that canticle is active, every tech priest gains 1 experience, and every cult mechanicus unit gains 1 experience. So this is the kind of thing, if you have a unit, an army that's built around taking advantage of 1 canticle, you can just blast somebody, take out 3 units, then basically your whole army gets experience.
Yeah, there's some planning to it that I like.
I think this was hard, honestly.
But it's hard,
especially in these smaller games when crusades start. Maybe at the end of a crusade when you're talking, 100 power level games or something. But at that point, is 1 experience really going to matter that much?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. This one, it kind of reminds you of like that Space Marine one where it's like kill a unit with shooting in the tactical doctrine, kill you with assault in the assault doctrine. Like anything that hinges on that is always going to be really hard to pull off and not that rewarding, since you're going to want to do this stuff anyway. Like, this doesn't change how you play the game.
Right. And then finally, we have Cold Logic. This one wins the award for the most words in an agenda.
Oh my God, so much bookkeeping.
By far. But I've summed it up quite well, I think. I'll just read through it. You keep a domination tally for each Scutarii unit. You score tallies by killing enemy units in specific manners during specific Doctrina imperatives. The 3 units with the most tallies in their domination tally column gain 1 experience.
Yeah, it's a lot of bookkeeping for not much gain. And
yeah, I don't like
though
this
it does guarantee you're going to get 3 experience points, because even if your tally is 0, if everyone's got 0, well, 3 I guess are the most. Yeah,
I suppose so, but still, this is not a very exciting agenda, unfortunately.
I would say the first 2 agendas are so cool they make up for the second 2 agendas.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to requisitions. Here's some fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so the first one is called Assemble Archaeotech, and this does exactly what it says on the tin. You are putting together Archaeotech parts to make cool stuff. Now, we will get to Archaeotech in a couple of minutes and explain exactly what that stuff is, but this is the requisition that lets you put it together, literally. Mm-hmm. Next up, we got Body Donor. This fucking love
rules.
This one.
The name is so good.
A tech priest, you spend 1 requisition point to switch out a tech priest for a different type of tech priest. So you can have like a tech priest Dominus and say, all right, well, I need a little more shooting help in my games, so I'm going to spend a requisition point and switch him out for a tech priest Manipulus with the same battle honors, the same amount of experience, and everything else that comes with it.
Except battle scars, because they have backup bodies that they're switching to.
Right. And you can switch back and you can say, all right, well, I really need a Dominus, so I'm just going to switch back from my Manipulus to a Dominus later in the campaign. Not a problem.
Yeah.
No, this is a great way to get your battle scars gone or switch your character into a different role.
Yeah. This is, to me, as cool as the interring a Space Marine character in a Dreadnought, for how cool it is narratively and for how cool it is rules wise. I love this shit.
Yeah. It's also really dystopian and terrifying if you think about it for too long.
Yeah, they have the phrase body donor, like that is a 2-word horror story. I love this shit.
All right, next up, we've got Unorthodox Acquisition. This is how you can generate Archaeotech without doing it in games. It's pretty pricey.
Yeah.
At 3 requisition points if you roll for your Archaeotech, and 5 if you choose. I mean, if you need it, if you need that Archaeotech to put together a cool new toy for your Tech Priest, you can spend it on it. But I think that the price attached to this makes it a little rough.
I mean, I do think that 3 RP to roll on the table is hefty. The 5 RP price tag is basically just the Codex calling you a coward for picking something instead of rolling on a table.
Absolutely. Always roll.
Always
roll, friend. Next, you've got 1 requisition point for Holy Orders, and this is giving a Tech Priest a Holy Order. It's like the character upgrades in Space Marine.
Yeah, it's utilitarian. It's fine. Every Codex has this one. It's cool.
Yeah. And then finally, we have Consecrated Upgrade, which is 1 requisition point for a unit of power rating of 9 of less, and 2 for a unit of power level of 10 or more. And this is wild. You give an entire vehicle unit a weapon upgrade by paying with Archaeotech parts. So if your unit has a power rating of 9 or less, you pay 1 power source Archaeotech and 1 other Archaeotech and your RP cost here, and the whole unit gets to upgrade their weapons, not just 1 model.
Right, and it's not vehicle units, it's Scutarii units. Just nipping.
Oh, is it Scutarii? Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry, excluding vehicle units. All right,
sorry.
so it's just Scutarii.
Nipping that one in the bud before someone well actually does.
Whew, my bad. So this one's fucking wild.
Yeah.
It's completely wild.
Yeah, it is. The weapon upgrades that we'll get to later are insane, and giving this to a whole squad is wild.
Sick fucking nasty. Okay, let's talk about some battle traits. I've picked some favorites out of these. There are 4 different categories: Tech Priests, Scutarii Marshals, Core and Cataphrons, and Vehicles. So for Tech Priest, my favorite is the Control Cortex, where you can give a Tech Priest a Scutarii Warlord trait.
That's pretty.
Why the fuck not?
That's cool. Why the hell not? Yeah, it's dual booting your Tech Priest.
Yeah, he's running a multi-disc raid. I don't know what that means.
It sounds techy. It sounds like some real like Cybershock, Hackerman, Dyson Airblade shit. Yeah, no, it's cool. I basically picked the traits here based on how cool their name was. So for Tech Priest, I chose Voltegeist Shock, where at the end of a fight phase, roll a die. You do some mortal wounds to the guys you're in fight contact with. It's cool. Sure, why not?
But it's got a good name. Yeah, that's what's important.
That's the whole reason I chose stuff here.
For the Scutarii Marshal, we got a trio of options here. My favorite is Battlefield Processing Cortex. You pick a Scutarii core unit within 9 inches, and that unit can perform a heroic intervention. I love that shit.
Yep, that was the one I chose too. There's a few things like that. There's a lot of rules here actually buff like close combat Admech, which isn't where I think most of them want to be, but that one is pretty fucking cool.
I don't know. There's a couple of units that are pretty fucking nasty in close combat in this book.
Yeah, and if you do get the secular class blade implants for your Scutarii Marshal, it's the same thing as the Voltegeist shit. You just cause some mortal wounds on a die roll. It's neat.
Love it. Core and Servitors get Blessed Bodies for my favorite. Again, it's a good name here. It's transhuman light. They wound rolls of 1 and 2 always fail, so they can never be wounded on 2 up. They can only ever be wounded at max 3 up, which is nice. It's not great, but it's nice.
Yeah, and for my one that also is pretty simple and has a very cool name is Kill Code Gear Switches, which just gives them +1 strength, which, hey, +1 strength on Cataphrons or core units, pretty all right.
Not so bad. And then finally we come to vehicles. My favorite here is Hardened Machine Spirit, and it automatically passes all out of action tests, which is actually pretty nice.
Yeah, love me a hard body tank. All right, that was mine too. Right, so let's move on.
Crusade Relics. First off, one of the best names I've seen so far. Cardio Core Gallivanus.
Cardio is spelled with a K, by the way.
Naturally, but what does it do? It is an aura that gives +1 to advance in charge rolls.
Yeah,
which is fantastic. It's cardio.
It's never skipping robot leg day. Yeah. See, the other one here that's also the lower level one is the multiplexed Nurgle inducer, which again sounds insanely cool. A multiplex is a movie theater. Who fucking cares?
I used to go to the multiplex all the time until people started getting murdered there, and then I stopped going.
I used to go to the multiplex in Revere, and then then COVID happened.
Yeah, then you moved to Oregon.
Yeah, then I moved extremely far away, and oh no, I missed that movie theater in Revere. There's nothing in Revere I miss, except for, I guess, watching guys have fights with seagulls on Revere Beach was always entertaining. Anyway,
the seagulls always win, interestingly.
This is true, because when in the contest of man and beast, when onion rings are on the table, beast always wins.
It's true.
So this one lets friendly core units within 6 of the character heroically intervene. More of that going on. There's a lot of
I love a good unexpected heroic intervention.
Yeah, it's cool. It really does change the rhythm of the game and make the person charging you really have to think about if they want to charge or not.
Yeah. All right. Next up in the Antiquity Relic section, we've got the Transinduction body. And I've put on my notes here, it says the character can fucking do whatever.
Yeah, it lets them pretend they're a Harlequin for a turn. Yeah, it lets them just kind of like phase through shit. It lets them just no clip around the map.
No, not pretend they're a Harlequin for a turn.
Oh, yeah, for the whole game.
Always.
Yeah.
They get to, they can move through
everything.
Terrain and models. They can shoot and charge when they fall back, and they can charge in advance in the same turn. AKA, the character can fucking do whatever.
Yep.
And then finally, we've got one of the best relics of all time, the Auto Caduceus of Arkan Land, which I think this is brought back from an old codex entry. And it's basically defibrillator paddles, but for Admech. It's once per battle, when another friendly Forge World model within 6 inches of the bearer is destroyed, you can bring them back with 6 wounds, unless their maximum wound characteristic is less than 6, and they can only have that number on a 3-up roll.
Now, the thing is,
extraordinarily powerful.
The thing is, these aren't just defibrillator patterns for a dude. They're defibrillator paddles for what the fuck ever. Like,
yes.
You can bring
anything from the same Forge World.
Yeah, so your tanks, your flyers, your robots, what the fuck ever. I love the Auto Caduceus of Arkan Land. It's great name, great rules. What I'm here for.
Yeah. Arkan Land, of course, is the original designer of the Land Raider.
And the Land Speeder.
Because they're not about land, they're about Arkan Land.
Yeah, it'd be a lot different. It's called the Arkan Raider.
Yeah, so stupid.
Love it.
I love that bit. All right, next up, we got the bespoke weapon enhancements. All right, so these are the ones that you can use with the consecrated upgrade requisition to give to the entire unit if you want to. Mm-hmm. And, bud, these are fucking good.
There's a lot. There's separate categories, 2 of each, for arc weapons, radium weapons, cognis weapons, plasma weapons, phosphor weapons, rifle weapons, and carbine weapons. There are so fucking many weapon enhancements.
Yeah, and some of this, like, these are, like, good.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the plasma weapons one, the 2 you have a choice here, vent shielding and fully charged. Vent shielding, when you roll 1, you lose mortal wounds or the model doesn't die. So you just get to ignore that. When you can just overcharge with no penalty from now on.
Yeah.
Which, really fucking good, says the guy who has lots of Hellblasters who kill themselves constantly. Then you have fully charged, which is every time an attack is made with the weapon, it targets within 12 inches. And if you remain stationary, you get to make another attack.
That's insane. Like,
and some things like cataphrons always remain stationary.
Oh, fuck yeah. There's some strong layering here. Like, I like the rifle weapons get one called detonation rounds, which you basically roll against their leadership of a target you shoot and you suppress them. And if a unit is suppressed, it doesn't get to use rerolls. Like,
yeah, it's wild. The luminogen on the phosphor weapons. Sorry, that's a hard word for me to say.
A lot of these are hard words to say.
It sets units on fire. If they take damage, and each time it moves, advances, or fall back, you roll a d6 for each model in that unit, and for every roll of 1, you take a mortal wound because the unit is on fire.
Yeah, wild. With radiant weapons, you can give your enemy rad sickness, where you subtract 1 from the strength and toughness of them, which I think regular Skitarii, Rangers, or Vanguard or whatever do within like an inch of them. This lets you do it from a distance, which means you could just set up a nasty oh, your Marines, their toughness 3 now, time to wound them on 2s and 3s or whatever. Like, there's a lot of nasty combos here with very characterful, very cool weapons and rules.
Yeah, this is a really, really cool situation here, these weapon enhancements for Admech. So very happy with that. But let's move on to what is the best part of this whole thing, the Archaeotech treasures. So we've talked, we've hinted at this at least so far, but this is a build your own items system.
It's a crafting system.
Admech, it's a crafting system. So you collect your Archaeotech parts, you roll for them, and you roll d6, and 1, 2, or 3, it's a power source, and then a 4, it's a weapon, 5 is a force field, 6 is Techno Arcana, and you combine 1 power source and 1 of the other 3 to make an Archaeotech treasure, and you use your requisition, your Archaeotech assembling requisition to do that. And then you can give them to a tech priest, and each tech priest can have up to 3 Archaeotech treasures, 1 of each type,
right?
Which again is weapon, force field, or Techno Arcana.
Right.
Weapons obviously are weapons. They're all 1 shot per battle weapons. The force fields are all defensive upgrades, and the Techno Arcana all work off canticles. So they're the ones that you're going to be flipping back in the book for the most.
Right. These are also there's 6 of each category. There's 108 possible combinations here, I think.
I also did that math.
Yeah.
Because there are 6 power sources and then 6 of each kind. And the power sources each have 3 different effects depending on what they're joined to. There is literally too much to talk about here. But you know what we can do, Campbell?
I think I do.
We can roll some fucking dice. So tell you what, how about you roll up a power source and a weapon for me?
Okay, power source. That'll be a 5, which in the weapon thing would be an endothermic reactor. And then for a weapon, that is a 2, which will be a neural jammer. So this is a endothermic reactor not Nurgle jammer. That's Garfield.
a Nurgle jammer?
Yeah, that's for the Garfield expansion. All right, so endothermic reactor. Fuck, I just zoomed in. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, if the attack successfully hits the target, roll a d6, subtracting 1 if the target is a vehicle. On a 3-up until the start of your next command phase, the target is frozen. While a unit is frozen, have the move characteristic of the unit models in that unit.
So it's a fucking freeze ray.
It's a freeze ray, and it's also a neural jammer, so it's a brain freeze ray. Neural jammer is a pistol 4 weapon, strength 4, AP 2, damage 1.
What's the range?
18. The bearer can only shoot once with this weapon. Each time you select a target, you can ignore lookout, sir. And each time an attack is made, any unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts a mortal wound in addition to normal damage. So
it's a 4-shot sniper pistol that can freeze targets.
Yeah, it's fucking ludicrous.
That's amazing
and cool as hell. And the fact that all these things do work together is insane to me. So why don't you let's go into the force field sort of thing. Roll me up a force field, my man.
Absolutely. Let's start with the power source here. That is a 4, an acidic conductor. And then let me get my force field.
Just alkaline battery.
That is void shell. So I've got me an acidic conductor void shell. So what the fuck does that do? Well, I'll tell you, listeners. The bearer gains the following ability: acid hardened flesh aura. While a friendly Forge World core unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time a melee attack with an armor penetration characteristic of -1 is allocated to a model in that unit, that attack has an armor penetration characteristic of 0 instead.
All right.
That's pretty good. And the Void Shell says each time the bearer would lose a wound, roll a d6. On a 6, that wound is not lost.
So 6 up, feel no pain, and the Steel Legion style AP guard.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid.
In an aura. Pretty useful. Not the most useful out of all these, but again, pretty useful. Now, the Techno Arcana is kind of weird because you kind of have to know what all the canticles do. when you like see these things happen.
Note how I didn't suggest that one.
Yeah, so I don't really want to go through these because I don't really want to flip through all the books because I don't remember what all the canicals do.
Yeah, I hardly remember my own rules, let alone these.
But it's basically it's an extra aura when a certain canical is active. So, like one of them, for the restrained vortex, while a friendly Forge World Cult Mechanicus unit is within 6 inches of this model, if this Techno Arcana is active, each time an enemy unit makes a melee attack against that unit, that attack's hit roll cannot be rerolled, and that attack's wound roll cannot be rerolled.
So the suppressing thing again, yeah.
Yeah, so you're looking at more defensive measures. But Campbell, these things are so cool.
They are extremely fucking cool. And I really hope that they do something like this again, because like it's a cool system. It's honestly, it's simple on paper, more complicated in practice. But like this is the kind of thing I really hope comes like orcs, who are all about looting shit, gathering scrap and like being able to cobble stuff together. I think there's a lot of potential here as just a whole new system to explore. This is the kind of thing I feel you could even port idea wise to other games too. Like this is inspired and I really like it.
Yeah.
But again, it takes up 4 pages of the fucking codex though. It's a system.
It's a lot. Yeah. It is a lot. But hey, it's Admech. That's their whole shtick.
Yes.
Okay, we got to move on. Let's do the old Factor fan fiction.
All right. Thought of the day. Those who stand tall in history are supported by 1,000 nameless faces. Unknown. Location, Peositu, capital city of the Lordship of Orvags. A large walled city is shown on top of its walls. Stand 4 type of soldiers, some wearing gas masks, some plate armor, some flak armor, and some without armor. Some with bows or spears, and some with a type of gun. When going through the streets of this city, you would see more of these soldiers patrolling in it. In a large palace, in a small office, sat an old man, his hair mostly gray with some strands of blonde in it. His eye a dull blue, the other was a robotic eye with a red lens, and his face covered in scars. He wears a uniform of a common soldier, the only difference being his shoulder rank, a cloak and a symbol of 3 purple arcs. This man was Lord Commander Jean Arc. He had fought for the Imperium for 90 years, and in those years he had seen many horrors, from the horrors fellow man will put each other through to the Xenomenace to even demons. He is the Lord Commander of the 224th Kirkrider Regiment, the Unbroken, renowned for their faith in the Emperor no matter what happened. Even the greenest of guardsmen wouldn't retreat unless ordered or start to panic in the face of the enemy. Commander Jean was busy with paperwork when a junior officer ran to his office. What is it, soldier? Sorry, what is it, soldier?
Oh, yeah, because it's French.
French. Sir, a heretic fleet has jumped into system. They outnumber our fleet 2 to 1 and have engaged in combat. As well, the heretic city-states on this planet have sent an army to this city and are starting a siege. Numbers on the army? Unknown, but orbital pics from the fleet have created the estimated that even counting the Katachan, Death Corps, regiments as well as the Orvags army, they'll outnumber us 1,000 to 1. Your orders, sir. Jean seemed unfazed, not even caring for their numbers. Prepare the men. Inform the officers of the other regiments, as well as the local lord. Martial law is now in effect. Then sent a message to the fleet. Fight well and kill the filth. It will be done, my lord. Jean stood up from his chair and went to a wall where he left his weapons. He grabbed a familiar sword and scabbard, the formerly named Croquia Moors, but knew it was a power sword with an inbuilt las pistol, renamed to Purpura Moors, and a las gun with some text engraved in it. Be not afraid of any beast, no matter what size. When danger threatens, wield me, and I shall see its demise. And a name, Oblidum Morte. When he grabbed his weapons and their ammo, he picked up a helmet with the markings that signify his rank, and then left his office to find his commissar. Sentence fragment.
Oh boy. You know, it's always good when you immediately jump into your bad writing voice right off the bat.
There's a dearth of punctuation in this particular piece of literature.
Yeah, well, that's definitely fan fiction. I don't think we got a lot of French characters in the English produced Games Workshop stuff.
You could say that Jacques Draco is, but I think that's just a futuristic spelling of Jack. And yes, you are correct. This is fan fiction. This is Jean of the Imperium by Kane 0710. I didn't know as I read this, but I was like, I want to do some research here because there's a lot of proper nouns in this. And
do you think it's like a Les Miserables thing?
No, far lower on the cultural totem pole than Les Miserables. It is
Campbell.
Sorry,
Campbell, I believe it's pronounced Les Miserables. Hey, how you doing? I'm Les Miserables.
Welcome to Les Miserables Tire and Auto. I don't know enough about that particular piece of media to really deliver much more because musicals are a big old cultural blind spot.
I know you got Javert.
I know Javert is a very sad-looking Russell Crowe.
I know you got Jean Valjean.
Is that Anne Hathaway?
No.
Okay, I know there's tuberculosis dying.
That's
lady.
Huge jacked man.
Hugh Jackman. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I don't know who's Anne Hathaway's character is. I don't care.
That's cool. So this is nowhere near as literate as Les Mis. I found out after researching that Les Mis's. This is actually a crossover fan fiction with Ruby, which is a very bad CGI anime made by a bunch of American nerds. Crusade is a town in the Netherlands. Croquet Amours, the Yellow Death, was the name of Julius Caesar's sword, but in Ruby, it is the name of a gun sword used by one of its characters. Jean d'Arc is their super original character in Ruby, and Orvag is, as far as I can tell, the Ohio River Valley Artists Guild. All
right, well, I hate it even more now.
Me too. Only after finishing reading it did I find that out. So,
well, let's do a couple plugs and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So, social media, Twitter. We've mentioned both of our Twitters already, but let's do it again. I am at DB_Sleazy. He is at Brother SRM, and you can talk to us about stuff on Twitter. It's fun. It's not fun. It's bad.
Our particular Twitter feeds are more fun than most.
Maybe yours, not mine. Then we're on Facebook as well, facebook.com/40k Badcast. I'm not on Facebook, but the show is. So basically it just means you can talk to Campbell and other hobbyists that like our program. I've heard, Campbell, that it is nice there, but I don't know.
It's Facebook, so it's grading on a curve. But yeah, it's fine. We also are, we've talked about it a few times, but we do have a Patreon on patreon.com/40k Badcast, where put out monthly bonus episodes. And then on top of those monthly bonus episodes, monthly smaller mini bonus episodes for the Torco Borco Reporco, which coincides with the release of our newest t-shirt, which is the Torco Borco Dorco t-shirt and sticker, which are available at shop.spreadshirt.com/40k Badcast. I put out an article on article's a strong word, but a little blog post, what the fuck ever, on our Patreon, going over how I designed the logo, the design process of it, some of the slightly more nuts and bolts weathering sort of stuff I did with that. So you can get some reading in and find out why I made this stupid t-shirt design.
I like how you called the Torco Borco sticker the Torco Borco Dorco Storco.
Yeah.
Oh, you can get Torco Borco in pink.
Yeah.
And teal.
I disabled a couple colors because it looks like ass on black, but it looks great on like oatmeal, yellow, pink, teal. Like,
ooh, it does look really good on yellow.
Yeah, it's really got that like 90s Taco Bell sort of vibe with that. Some people did ask if we'd ever consider doing one that's more in the vibe of the interior design of a 90s Taco Bell, and your criteria has been noted. I'll just say that much. That we might put out
I'm buying one right now.
Yeah. I was when I told Anna that I put the shirt out, and I was like, yeah, we already sold a few. Anne's like, how many were you and Dan? Because there's been times
I haven't.
You were the first and in some cases just about only purchaser of a given product.
I listen, I'm actually going to have to re-up my Cult of the Swole-Armed Emperor t-shirt. Oh, wait, they're out of XLs in that, which is bad because I have an XL and it's actually way big. I don't know what to do there.
My medium Swole-Armed Emperor tank is basically a mini dress. Like, it is big.
Yeah, those run a little big. Oh, the 30K, the perfect shirt. Ooh, I don't even know where my perfect shirt is. edging enthusiast. Fantastic. I do need to buy some stickers, though.
Yeah, I need to get some stickers myself so I can do some cool brand-related crimes.
Crimes. We love those crimes.
We do.
Yeah, you can also get us at email. We have one of those. Contact at 40kbadcast.com. It is the best way to talk to us because I get push notifications to the old telefono here, and see emails from viewers all the time. It's great.
Last but certainly least, we do both write for goonhammer.com. By the time this goes out, I should have an article about 40k for dummies called I Have No Brain and I Must Ham, gaming for smooth brains. And you just did a hell of a lot of work on not just the Lost Zone stuff we talked about last time, but some new Blood Bowl content over there.
Yeah, I've been doing some Blood Bowl articles because, why should I have free time? They're fun. It's a lot of fun doing those things. I like Blood Bowl a lot, so like writing about it too. The one I did most recently was about kickoff formations. Thankfully, Rob Jones, our editor over there, who's a graphic designer, or at least was a graphic designer, he built a little Blood Bowl man's Photoshop template that I use to create diagrams. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It looks really good. And one more thing. I'm going to be on episode 13 of Sump City Radio.
Hell yeah.
Which is a Necromunda podcast. They brought me on to talk about the 6 houses of Necromunda gangs available for people to play. I had a lot of fun recording with those gentlemen, and if you haven't listened to Sump City Radio yet, then go ahead and do so. That's Sump City Radio. It's a very good show.
Awesome. We're almost at episode 100 of this very dumb show we've been doing for longer than I care to admit, and episode 100 is going to be a fucking banger. We've got some really cool stuff going on in this upcoming episode, so keep your ears peeled and look forward to that popping up in whatever podcatcher you use.
Yeah, episode 100 is going to be wild. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah,
because we have been doing this dumb show for almost 5 years now, Campbell. We started in end of 2016, right? Yeah, end of 2016. Our first episode came out like January 2nd, 2017. So 4.5 years we've been doing this show, and we finally got to 100.
Yeah, which, hey, isn't, I think the traditional 5-year anniversary gift is wood, so you're going to be joining us for our wood anniversary before you know it.
Oh, we're going to give him wood, Campbell. Don't you worry.
We have been doing so for quite some time.
Well, all right, gang. I think it's time, Campbell.
I do think it is time to send this bad boy off.
So why don't you give us a quote, and we'll do so.
Doubt is the fatal flaw in any armor.
Doubt and doubt and creases and joints, and the part where you can sneak a little stabby stab in there. That's that too. That's a fatal flaw. Don't forget that.
I think the armpit is actually the fatal flaw in most armor. Oof. Manufacturer error. Manufacturer error.
That's a sensitive area, guy.
I know. Hey, I'm not thrilled about that fact. I'm clutching my pits right now as I reflexively feeling where a knife would go in. I
got some tattoos that go all the way around the arm. And part of it is close to the armpit on the left arm there, and on the right arm too. And that area was really, really bad.
Considering how I fainted and barfed when I got my shoulder tattooed, I do not want to know what would happen if I got my armpit tattooed.
I also have a tattoo that extends really close to one of my nipples, which again is a very sensitive area, and that one really sucked.
I believe you. I think I'm going to take under advisement to not do that to my own body, but we'll see what dumb shit I get to in the future. But anyway, thank you for joining us for this episode as well as many others. Hope you join us for our next one, which is going to be wild. And Dan will do the send-off because that's his shtick.
We're bad at 40K. You can too, listeners. And, join us in that next 100th cartoon. All right. Thanks, listeners.